Hi, I'm Larry Nordwick. Welcome to Creative Images Photography. I have been in this building for the past 35 years creating fantastic pictures for the local community. I kind of considered the town photographer at this point after doing 10,000 portrait sessions and 1,300 weddings. I opened this shop when I was only 19 years old, so I'm not that old yet. And I was fortunate enough in my youth to have taken workshops and studied with many of the great photographers that live in this area, including Ansel Adams. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite moments in my career was when I met Ansel at his house, and I was sitting next to him on his sofa, and I was 19 years old, and I just asked him, Ansel, how many great pictures have you taken in your life? And he ignored me and continued on with his lecture. And about 2 hours later, he comes back to me and he goes, young man, I have taken 5. And that's when I understood what a standard was. And then I proceeded to make him show me around his house the 5 pictures he thought were good. What I learned from that story, though, as a very young photographer, is that this is maybe the greatest photographer that ever lived that just happened to live in my area. And he's telling me he has taken 5 good images in his entire life. And he then added on, as a little joke, he said, and you'll be lucky to take 1. I ran into him a few years later after I'd opened my studio in the local camera shop. And he came up to me and he said, young man, how are you doing with your photography studio over there? And I said, wow, I'm doing great. I'm doing all these weddings. I've taken like 40,000 pictures this year, and it's amazing how good I'm doing. And he turns to me and he goes, but have you taken 1 good picture? And I just stopped in my tracks and went, wow, I'm not sure that I have. I actually got my start in this field doing photojournalism. I was the kid that did all the pictures for his high school, but my dad also owned the local newspaper, so I got to go out on assignment once in a while for the local newspaper. So I'm a good photojournalist. And when I opened this portrait studio, I had to learn how to be a good portraitist. And when I first opened, when you're a young photographer, you just have to learn all of the craft. And you're so focused on getting the picture right and getting your lighting right and getting everything together that you ignore the person in front of you. And much of the work that I had in my studio back then was technically perfect, having gotten to study with Ansel Adams and some of the other great photographers that live in this area, and including Ken Cook and Salinas. But there was one day that I'll never forget when I was about 23, when an old master photographer who's nationally famous walked into my studio and he looked around at my work and he said, young man, have you taken these pictures here? And I went, yes, and I was very proud of it. And he looks at me and he goes, you have no idea what you're doing. And I was just completely shocked. And I turned to him and I said, excuse me? And he says, you obviously have formal training here. I don't know who you've studied with, but your pictures are beautiful, but you have no idea what you're doing. Your pictures are lifeless. Everybody in these pictures looks dead. And you need to understand, if you're going to be a portrait photographer, that you need to get people to emote in front of you. And I learned that lesson that day, and it took years for me to understand when you're a portrait or a wedding photographer, your presence behind the camera is so much more important than anything else you do, because people need to express and emote in front of you, and you need to do something to get them to do that. So that's one of the things I do bring to a wedding, is a lot of energy and a lot of liveliness and a lot of interaction, and I make people forget that they're being photographed, because a lot of people really don't like a camera pointed at them, like me right now with this video. For that?
You can't take him at all.
You'd be going to community college if I gave you. All right, you're going to back up a little bit more. All right, got it set. And then you're going to turn towards me a little bit more and back up a little bit more, and then slide it a little bit closer towards your... What is she?
Aunt.
Your new aunt. Oh, wow, your new auntie.
Holy cow.
Slide in here a little bit closer.
You're an aunt? Yeah.
Wasn't soon enough. We needed a babysitter. You know that,
I
right?
know. Now that they're grown, good looking out.
Thanks for babysitting.
Right?
The problem with this family is you just don't have enough sons. Okay.
All right, how do you want
What do you want me to do?
Sorry.
I'm going to have you just like turn in there, and then she's like on top and grabbing you there. No more kids. You're done?
Done. Done.
Notice I can't answer that question.
Done.
No, you got fixed, I heard. Oh, that's a good laugh.
what she would like.
Save me some trouble.
Turn to the left a little bit more. Right, got it.
Chelsea. I know, I'm like, okay. Way better.
All right, eyes over here at me. Everyone looking happy. Kate, stop being Charlie's Angels. Just let the hair go. Kate's back here. All right, freeze it out there. Yeah, Butch is doing it.
There we go.
All right, freeze it, freeze it, freeze. You want the sunglasses on, Butch? It's your call.
No sunglasses!
These are my real glasses. Oh, okay, they just gone really dark. All right, we got that, we got that. I'm going to be watching this bunch at the reception.
This is trouble.
This is the before shot.
Is it possible that you do this picture at 10 o'clock? I don't think so.
I
Not
think you should
standing.
though.
All right, eyes out here again and again. Back row's got to be as happy as the front row. There we go, there we go. There. And then you know what? Let's just do something silly. Everyone just maybe lean that way. Let's lean the other way. Do a little wavy thing or something. That's the real you. All right, rock and roll. You guys are good.